In the Lab, a Texans podcast that takes a different look at things. Drew Dougherty and John Harris have their lab coats and goggles on, and the Bunsen burners burning. Here's Drew.
Hey there, friends. This is In the Lab. I am Drew Dougherty. I got my good pal John Harris with me. John, it's great to see you, my friend, and you and I were talking off camera. We like a lot of the same shows. We watch many of the same things. And you're just finishing something that I'm just starting, and I am embarrassed to just be starting this because when I was growing up, I was a huge Karate Kid fan, like many children of the 1980s. So Cobra Kai has been around for a few years, but it just came to Netflix. Yeah. And I just finished the 4th episode of this first season last night.
Well, I'm a little bit embarrassed by this, Drew, because I was looking for a streaming service because we call the cords and we were paying God knows how much money with a different service. And so the streaming services were popping up. And so we went with one, but then that one died. And then I was like, okay, well, what do we do next? And we went with YouTube TV. And I completely had forgotten that Cobra Kai was on YouTube TV. And then one day I was just kind of bouncing around and I saw something that reminded me of Cobra Kai and went, hey, wait a second. I have that on YouTube TV. And then I realized, oh, it's on Netflix too. So yeah, I finished the series in a couple of weekends and loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Well, I'm not going to give away much, but one of the things that Johnny Lawrence, the blonde guy, if your memory is sketchy on Karate Kid, but he's the blonde villain from the original Karate Kid, and he's one of the protagonists in the new show, Cobra Kai. Well, one of the things he says in one of the episodes is the best defense is more offense. And it got me thinking, some people outside the organization might kind of look at the Texans this year and think sort of that might be the case because they've added some more speed on offense. Looks like Fuller's going to be healthy. You added a different type of running back. So I think it's something to kind of remember because you got roasted at the end of the playoff game, and really from about the second quarter on, you got roasted by a team that has just weapons upon weapons upon weapons with a great trigger man. Well, the Texans have a great trigger man in Deshaun Watson, and they had a weapon in Will Fuller, but they wanted to add more pieces around him, and it really made me think last night as I was getting into bed. I was like, that could be applied, I think, to the Texans. Now they're not eschewing being good on defense. They think they're going to be better on defense because of some of the schemes that are coming up that have been brought to the fore by Anthony Weaver, the new defensive coordinator. J.J. Watt's healthy, so that changes a big part of the equation too. But more offense can be a better defense. My danged dog sees a squirrel or something. So we're going to see if we can soldier through this. But what do you think about that idea of a better or more offense being a better improving the defense?
Yeah, I think Johnny Lawrence is right on a lot of different things. And I remember him saying that. I had the same kind of reaction. I was like, it's kind of interesting. And I actually wrote about that in my Know Your Foe article this week, where I also kind of combined my keys to the game. And, keys to stopping the Chiefs offense. My number 5 key was stopping their offense was our offense. If you look back at that week 6 win, we had almost 40 minutes of time of possession.
You choked them out.
Which is just, in an NFL game, that's extraordinary. And I know that we've talked about coaches we've been around that don't always believe in that. And I agree. I don't think it always has to come down to time of possession. But I do think if you are efficient and effective with your time of possession and you're finishing those drives with touchdowns, then yes, I think it matters. If you're finishing those 10-play, 12-play drives and all you're doing is kicking field goals, then it doesn't matter because in 2 minutes the other way, they're going and getting a touchdown. So you might dominate time possession in the first quarter and have it for 10 minutes, but you kick 2 field goals and they go 4 plays, 75 yards on your defense, and they're up 7-6.
Yeah, you can get away with that. You can get away with that against some teams, not those teams. It takes me back to a Texans scout back in 2011, right before the Texans were going to play the Saints in New Orleans. High-powered offense, really, really good offense. And I was like, well, what do you think? And he was very simple. He said, can't be kicking no field goals. And the Texans went out and kicked too many field goals. They didn't score enough touchdowns, and the Saints edged out the Texans because they were just so danged explosive.
And I wonder if that sort of philosophy is something that will filter through to Bill O'Brien, thinking about last year's game, 21-0. You've got a 4th and, I don't know, maybe about that long. do you go for it and know that you have to have touchdowns against these guys instead of kicking field goals, settling for 30-something yard field goal. Now, look, if you're looking at 4th and 12, okay, yeah, kick the field goal. I get it. But if you're looking at 4th and makeable, then maybe that's a situation you're going to look at and think, we cannot kick field goals against these guys. It will come back to haunt us in some way, shape, or form. To that end, I think another challenge is, you can't kick field goals, but you have to score almost every time you have the ball. And if that does mean you do kick a couple field goals, but that means that every other drive is finishing with a touchdown. So you have 10 drives in a game potentially. You need to be scoring on 8 or 9 of those.
Yeah.
But like we said, it can't be 5 field goals, 2 touchdowns. That thing's got to be 2 field goals, 5 touchdowns. You get in that range, then you got an opportunity. I think you're absolutely right, Drew. I think Johnny Lawrence is dead on. Cobra Kai, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. And that is, I think, absolutely the case.
Pour it on.
Maintaining control of the football and keep attacking and just keep coming and keep throwing different waves at them. Keep making the Chiefs have to adjust. Look, we're going to have to adjust to what they do. Do the same thing. Make them have to adjust to what we're doing.
Yeah. All right. After Texans games, we have a cream of the crop award, and we don't have a game yet to give a cream of the crop award. So we're going to do it forecasting, because we're doing this 2 days before the Texans play the Chiefs. So my cream of the crop is going to go to, it's a non-Deshaun Watson, non-JJ Watt player. So my cream of the crop award is going to go to David Johnson. I think he's going to be a big part of what the Texans want to do, can do, and will do on offense. I think you can see a lot of games where he gets about 68 rushing yards, 74 receiving yards, and he catches a score, maybe runs for a score, and busts like 2 big plays. I think you're going to see a lot of that this year. You're not going to see a bunch of 100-yard games on either side of the equation for him, but you're going to see productivity, in spades with David Johnson. So I'm going to go cream of the crop before the week 1, before the Chiefs game, David Johnson. Who's your cream of the cropper, Johnny?
Well, I just feel like Will Fuller is a guy that not only do I want to see be cream of the crop, I need to see be cream of the crop. So I'm going to roll with Will Fuller. I think that the Chiefs – now, look, the Texans secondary is banged up a little bit with Gary and Conley missing, but I think they've got more depth than they had going into the game last year. Last year going into the game, you had no Jaleel Addae, you had no Tashawn Gibson. So you're relying on safeties, Justin Reed and Mike Adams. This year –
retired.
You're not as such. You're deeper at safety. You're deeper at corner. The only thing about Conley is Conley faced this team twice a year with the Raiders.
A lot of
so
familiarity.
he has a lot of experience, and that you're going to miss. But I think bringing John Reed into the fray is going to matter. Having Vernon back is going to matter. Having Roby back, and then we'll see if Lonnie Johnson takes that step that we're definitely looking for. So I think we're better and deeper back there. So hopefully that secondary will be ready to look. They're going to take some body blows, man. This is going to be a 12-rounder. This is going to be a heavyweight matchup. So, yes, there's some inexperience for us in the secondary. For the Chiefs, there's a ton of it at corner because there's no Bashaud Breeland. Breeland's suspended. He'll miss the first 4 games due to a substance abuse issue, suspended by the league. So that leaves Travarius Ward, who is a little above average, if you want to give him that. But then it's Rashad Fenton, who's never started. It's Antonio Hamilton, who has not started, who came over from the Giants and the free agency, and I'm not sure many people know who he is. And then you've got rookies. You got Thakarius Bo-Pete Keys from out of Tulane, and you got L'Jarius Sneed, who played safety at Louisiana Tech that they're converting into corner. So you're going to see a bunch of inexperience in the secondary. So I think to match that and to overcome that, I think the Chiefs might bring a little bit more pressure and have to play man to say, look, I mean, that's our chance to get to Deshaun Watson. And if they're going to play man, I think that Will Fuller ends up being a very significant figure. In that playoff game, he made a couple of big plays. He got the big play down the sideline in the second half. The only touchdown the Texans scored the second half was a result of Will Fuller just roasting Travarius Ward one-on-one. So
Stills' touchdown to lead off the game was a result of just an utmost respect paid to Will Fuller. Yeah. It confused some guys. It threw some folks off, and they broke a coverage.
And Tyrann Mathieu said after the game, not said after the game, but this offseason, talking about that game, somebody asked him on Twitter or some TV show somewhere, who is the toughest player you faced one-on-one? He said, without a doubt, it's Will Fuller.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that you can do with Will, and that's what they did in the playoff game. They got Will inside and essentially forced Tyrann Mathieu to have to play man coverage against him. And in doing that, that's a matchup I'll take all day long. But then later, when Will was outside, he went one-on-one with Charvarius Ward, just roasted him to the end zone. So if their number one guy can't stay with our number one guy, then what are our other guys going to do? But then at that point, well, how are they going to stop Will? So my hope is that they challenge with Will a few times. And in the Week 6 game, this is something that I literally just popped in my head, but nobody has talked about this. Will beat Kansas City down the field 3 separate times. If you remember this, 3 separate times. He was coming off that win against Atlanta.
Couldn't pull the ball.
And he had three passes that would have been either big plays and or touchdowns, and he wasn't able to hang on to them. Now, they wouldn't have been the most miraculous catches in the world. They would have been tough catches, at least 2 of them. One of them, I think, was right there, just couldn't hang on.
It would have put that game out of reach. You wouldn't have been coming down into the last fourth and whatever.
It would have been a completely blowout at that point. So I don't know how Kansas City stays with Will Fuller. And now that I've thought of that point, I will definitely make that point in pregame on the radio show, because I think Will Fuller becomes a huge factor in this one.
All right. I can't wait, man. Day after tomorrow. It's awesome. 2 days away.
It'll be a blast.
The best defense will be more offense, we think, for the Houston Texans. All right. This has been fun, John. We'll talk to you again very, very soon. Good luck. Stay safe,
brother.
And take care. Man. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.